I'm John Kraft.
Kirk Allen.
We're the Edgar County Watchdog. This discussion will be about the Shelby County audit and the state's attorney's attempted intervention in
That was an interesting meeting. I don't think I've ever witnessed board members who wanted to argue they can't vote for something because it has the word draft on it. In fact, I went back and looked at some of the old records. The 2020 audit had draft on it, but they voted for that one too. Some of those same people were on the board then. It didn't bother them, but
well, you know, ideas change depending on who's in charge and who they're trying to get elected next. So that's probably what that was all about. But go ahead.
yeah, and it's unfortunate. The draft itself, technically there was a fourth draft because there was one minor highlighted portion that caused them to send one page from the third version, you know, to correct it. And everybody's up in arms over 4 drafts. I mean, one of the public commenters even tried to imply that they were trying to be secretive and slip in a 4th draft. They really need to learn what they're talking about. But anyway, the board voted to approve the draft. The 3 that have been screaming, where's our draft, where's our draft, we're gonna lose transportation money. How many meetings have we been hearing about that?
Lots of meetings. It's all about we're going to lose money because we don't have a draft.
Right, and
those we don't have an audit, not the draft. We don't have the audit.
Don't have the audit. Well, here they have the audit, and those people vote no. Well, if they were concerned about getting the funds or not losing the funds, why would you vote no? They voted no because it has the word draft on it. You have to vote on the final version. Then once that happens, you send it back to the auditors. The auditors file their final report with their signatures on it, and they take the word draft off of it. To me, it's just childish, but you know, you say that and then, oh, we're being attacking now.
Now, what's it take to get the final report issued by the auditor?
It takes final payment.
Final payment.
All payments due, according to the contract, if I remember correctly.
Which would include the over $8,400 that the state's attorney incurred when she subpoenaed the auditor for copies of the drafts that she wasn't really had any right to possess or read to begin with.
Well, they blamed the bill on the chairman for not giving the draft copies to the state's attorney. There were public comments came out and literally chastised him that Bobby Orman caused this bill, the $8,400, whatever it was. He's not the one that filed these subpoenas that created a legal problem. Whether Bobby did or not, she sent a subpoena to the auditors as well as the chairman. The auditors are the ones that incurred an expense. I don't know if Bobby incurred an expense or not. I'm sure he did. Most lawyers don't work for free.
The bottom line is the state's attorney had no right to those draft audits, just like
None.
she has no right to any other draft items. The general public has no right to draft audits unless they are cited in a open public board meeting by the
Head of
chairman or head of the public body.
Correct.
And when,
which is how we got the.
When Orman cited those drafts, and I think he even read from them during the public meeting, that opened those drafts up to
Correct.
Freedom of Information Act and public access, which would include the state's attorney and anybody else that wanted it.
Well, and the sad part of that, when that whole subject came up and they were accusing, you know, Bobby of not turning them over to the state's attorney, the state's attorney never even called and asked for them. Now, I understand there was an email sent 2 days before the meeting where he got his subpoena, and ironically, you know, when he was talking to a few folks about that out in the parking lot, at the time when he opened his email, he's like, got that 2 days ago and he missed it. Well, he gets a subpoena over something that could have been prevented with a simple phone call. But she's interfering in the legislative process because on the bills, they were never even presented to the finance committee. The committee typically reviews the bills and then they discuss them and they make a decision what to do with them. They were pulled from the eyes of the finance committee.
Who had them pulled?
The state's attorney, according to the county clerk. The state's attorney claimed, nope, that'll take a court order to have those paid because Hanlon lost his motion for sanctions. Those bills had nothing to do with sanctions.
Hanlon didn't ask the board to pay anything in the motion.
Correct.
The motion was for her to individually pay it because she is the one that caused the expense to be incurred.
Right.
By submitting the, flawed, critically flawed subpoena to the auditor. Yes, the judge did not award
He didn't award financial
sanctions
sanctions.
against the state's attorney as an individual.
Correct.
To pay the fees incurred. So an invoice was sent to the county to pay the fees incurred and additional expenses related to the contract, it was related to the contract.
Directly related to it because it spells out what the county is obligated to pay. The state's attorney interfered in this legislative process. The auditors incurred expenses. It's outlined in the paragraphs. And more importantly, there's also a provision in the contract. There's a 10-day dispute. If you're going to dispute a bill before you've got 10 days to do it in writing. Well, they never disputed it. Instead, she pulls that bill or directs the clerk to pull it. And Mark Bennett, one of the board members, he was pretty upset about it as well because that's not the clerk's place to pull bills. Their job is to present those to the committee. That's their policy. Let them review it. And if you have a question, you talk about it. And if the state's attorney actually thought it was an improper bill or a false claim or an illegal bill, there's a method she can follow to take action to stop that payment. But it's not by pulling it from the county board, the legislative body. That's not how it works.
Anything else?
The grant money, I've never, outside of Edgar County, have we ever seen grant money stopped? I don't think we have.
Yeah. That was a good job in Edgar County.
That was like 19 million.
3 years in a row.
$19 million that we got froze, and there's a long story behind that. But they're all freaking out over this money. IDOT very rarely are they.
And then they vote against the audit.
Right. They vote against the audit. They voted against paying the bills. Well, if you don't pay the bill that was pulled from them, the auditor's not going to send the audit. So I don't understand these people. They scream and yell and rant and rave about audit, audit, audit. But when it comes time to making sure you get it as fast as possible when it's right in front of you, they vote no. That tells me it's a political, agenda-driven hot topic for them. This has nothing
for the upcoming election.
Yep, this has nothing to do about good governance, or they would have got to the bottom of it and voted yes to get these bills paid and get it expedited so that they don't lose their transportation money.
That it?
We'll have most of that in the article. You bet.
All right, thanks.